Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer, still out in New Orleans. And we are looking at a 4-game slate on Thursday night here. Some pretty fun matchups, though. In this one, we're taking a look at Dallas playing host to Boston. We'll see what those home road splits can do for each team. Also got another game up and our player props, so make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us each and every weekday this season. Also want you to head to thelines.com. You can check out all the written content we have up there about everything we're talking about here, and also have our odds finder tool that you can use to make sure you're getting the best juice on all those U.S. sports books offering you NBA odds this season. Nate, let's get into this little slate here and then talk C's and Mavs.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. It's a 4-game slate. It's easy to pick the 2 games that you want to watch and that you want to bet on, and those are the games we're going to talk about here. Memphis is on a back-to-back. They're -7 at Orlando. After smashing Charlotte, you think they might do it again, but who knows? Utah is -7 at Houston. Some weird splits with that team. The other game we break down, Clippers are +5 at the Nuggets, total of 228. And then right now we have the Celtics -2.5 or -3 at Dallas with a 232 total. And I mean, if you follow the Celtics, I don't know if you believe that this line is correct at all, considering how they played on the road lately. I mean, there is a bounce back factor after how poorly they played at OKC 2 nights ago without SGA, giving up 150 points somehow in a classic kind of letdown spot. Sure, but I mean, they've been bad on the road for weeks and lost 4 of their last 5 on the road. Their only win over the lowly Lakers. They have been going over in their last few because of terrible defense, but prior to that, under in 10 straight on the road. And anytime you talk about Dallas at home, you got to look at an under a little bit, even though they've gone over in 4 straight at home. So I think that's where you're getting the value, like to look at these 2 competitive games and say Dallas-Boston at 232, Clippers-Nuggets 4 points lower. I would definitely switch those. I mean, I think those are the wrong lines for each game, just based on the pace and style that we should see. Again, we'll talk about the Clippers if their guys play, whatever. Everybody's supposed to play for Boston tonight. And Dallas, still missing those pretty key defenders in Kleba and Finney-Smith. So I guess that's the reason we think they won't be able to defend. And there is some huge variance here because of these teams hoisting 40-plus threes a game. So anything can happen. I don't think it's a huge bet if you're going to take the under, if you're going to follow me on that. But the trend I see here is that when Boston faces a team that has a low assist rate, Memphis, Chicago, Toronto, the Clippers twice, they post a much better defensive rating and their game goes under. And Dallas has one of the lowest assist rates in the league, of course, because it's just so much Luka iso ball. It's the 3rd lowest, in fact, when they're at home. And Dallas has a trend of, first of all, not winning against the East this year, but that's a lot of not taking those teams seriously. Strangely, they've won 2 against the Knicks and lost 10 straight against every other team in the East so far. But I think they will take Boston seriously. I mean, we just saw Boston kind of have this revenge narrative where they lost at the Clippers, come back home, get the rematch, the only other chance to get that team, and they win. The way Luka's playing right now, I don't think I'm willing to bet against him. But I am willing to bet on a little bit of that variance I'm talking about. On Dallas's 3-point defense, which is much better at home, 8th best, in fact, 5 percentage points better than when they're on the road. Keeping the Celtics down a little bit in terms of what they can do. And Boston's 3-point defense, which has been unsustainably bad in their last few, including giving up 50% to OKC, which is a low assist rate team. I'm talking about that theme when SGA is playing. He was not playing. All of a sudden the ball's humming around, and it was a different situation. But just keying in on Luka, who has gotten his against the Celtics. Like, don't get me wrong, but that's the kind of defense that they want to. That's the kind of defense they want to play. Is like, all right, Luka, you get your 42. Right. Nobody else is getting theirs, and that's how they're going to try to keep this game, I think, below 110. And, we'll see who pulls it out. I'd rather have the home team with +3 than the Celtics at this point, for sure. But I think right now the smartest bet is the under.
Yeah, I would agree. It's really just a matter of which Celtics team are we going to get? The one that's played Dallas so well on defense over their last roughly 4 matchups, or are we getting the Boston team that's, just gave up 150 points to a team without SGA, including 3 guys that I'm sure most NBA fans have never heard of scoring over 20 points in that game, right? Including Isaiah Joe, who had 18 in the first half. Go ahead and Google Isaiah Joe for you conservative NBA or, you casual NBA fans. But I will say, I kind of believe a little bit more in Dallas winning or, winning. If I'm going to take the +3 for Dallas at home, I'm going to take the money line, to be honest with you. And the reason I'm feeling good about that, and I feel good about the under as well, because of everything you just said about the matchup for the Celtics defense versus the way that Dallas plays offense, right? And Luka ball. But I also don't believe in Boston right now at all on the road. I actually, before I saw SGA was out, welcome to the NBA, modern day NBA, where guys are in and out minutes before the game. I bet on the Thunder at +9 because I was like, what? Are you guys watching Boston play right now? And then I looked at him not in there and I was like, fuck it, I'm not cashing that out. I'm just going to let it ride. And to my, surprise, they scored 150 points on the C's. So that's kind of where I'm at with them right now. After a loss, they are, you talk about maybe coming back. They're 5-6 against the spread. They're failing to cover by about 8 points in those games as well after those losses that they have 11 of this season. So on the road, this is just not a prime position for them to, I think, turn around whatever it is that's just afflicting them. It's kind of Jason Tatum's shooting a little bit the last 3 or 4 games. He's been a bit off, but Jaylen Brown's also made up for that, and Tatum's still getting points because of sheer volume and the amount that he's shooting, and he's still getting close to 30. He's just sort of the offense gets a bit stalled when it seems like he's deferring a bit more right now, and doesn't, I don't know, just the last 3 games that I've been watching, Tatum hasn't had the same level of confidence that I feel like he had in his MVP campaign so far this season. So looking at the past matchups though, with pretty much everybody playing who you expect to play tonight, sans Christian Wood, who's an addition obviously for the Mavs, in Dallas especially, those totals have been down a bit, right? And the last one in Boston, they had their sort of surgence earlier this season where they were just scoring 125 to 140 points a game at home. So I don't know how much stock you put in that. I put a lot more stock in the fact that those road splits for them are just so atrocious right now. I believe a bit more in Dallas's ability to just have their role players contribute enough to win this game. But I don't like 232 unless you're going under at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the previous 4 matchups did go under between these teams, and way under a total like this, because neither team was really able to get it going from beyond the arc, and they're extremely three-dependent teams. Boston, in the last 2 in Dallas, hit just 10 threes per game at 30%. So, I mean, that's the concern, certainly. And it's just kind of that herky-jerky style, I think, that Luka impacts the game with, that throws everybody a little bit off their rhythm, even on the other side of the court, too, because Dallas plays at that pace and they dictate pace at home. Yeah. Sometimes it's as low as a 94 pace, and then you're not getting the touches. Boston at home, they're able to dictate and really get the ball zipping around with their 5 out. That's how they were scoring so much at the beginning of the season. And when it gets a little choppy, yeah, they've struggled to hit their shots. And you look at, how Dallas reacts when they get a good Eastern Conference team coming to their house too. I mean, last season when they were the home dog, they were 11-3 to the under, going under by 7 points per game. Oh, wow. And 11 of their last 12 home games against the other conference went under. Again, going way under. These games are 107-98. I think you might have a little bit more of a sweat here if you are going to follow us on that under. But I do think, unless there's some ridiculous threes hit here or an overtime situation, that we will stay under 232.
And it's a wonderful time to sort of harp on the point that you made that there's gonna be variance when these two teams play. They're both hoisting up, right, like in the top 3 in terms of field goal attempts from deep. That they both rely on it, and for Boston, I mean, for good reason. You can talk about the way that the Mavs play with Luka, and if you want, would they be better off with a better second fiddle than I don't know, Spencer Dinwiddie and or Christian Wood? Probably, but the point is they make themselves easier to guard for a team like the Celtics. It's just at home. Is Reggie Bullock going to go 1 of 8 from 3, or is he going to hit 3 more of them, right? Is Tim Hardaway Jr. streaking on one of his, 6 weeks of shooting 42% from 3, or is he down to that 30%? That's really it, man. And unfortunately, like even Christian Wood now is joined in. He's always been a 3-point chucker, but continue to join in those barrages and enjoying shooting from out there as well. So I think that in that respect, you take, the total is a little bit less reliable, like you're saying, but Dallas to be able to like close this game out and sort of handle business, be better at home, and the Celtics worse on the road. That's just where the money lies at +3. There's plenty of value there. So that's all the time we have for you in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Check out the other game video we have up for you and our player props as always. So until we see you next, happy betting.